Hi, everyone. My name is Mary. I'm with Rape Counselors of East Alabama, and today we're going to be discussing rape culture in America, in our society today, and how it's portrayed in the media. So first, it's important to define what rape culture actually is. It's a society where sexual violence is common, normalized, and in which we have attitudes and practices that condone and excuse sexual violence. This can look like how we are taught sexual assault prevention instead of teaching others not to rape. Characteristics of rape culture include victim blaming, slut shaming, objectification, mocking of sexual violence, and denial of sexual violence. So here we see a pyramid of kind of how this rape culture progresses. It starts at the bottom with victimization, rape jokes, locker room talk, sexist attitudes, which eventually develops into groping, threats, revenge porn, and can develop into dosing, sexual coercion, statutory rape, and then eventually to rape, incest, battery, and murder. I would like to emphasize that a lot of the times victimization, these rape jokes, these boys will be boys, it's not a victimless crime, and it often goes unnoticed. People think it's funny, it's normalized, but as we can see, if this sexist attitude is not stopped, it can turn into explicit violence. Some statistics: in America, someone is sexually assaulted every 68 seconds. 1 in 5 women have been the victim of rape or attempted rape. Women from ages 16 to 19 are 4 times more likely to be victims of rape or sexual assault. 25 out of 1,000 rapists will go to prison, and 63% of sexual assaults are not reported to the police. This really shows us how rape culture is so common in America and how it is so hard to get victims justice. The long-term effects of sexual assault include PTSD, anxiety, depression, more at risk of substance abuse, suicidal thoughts and actions, relationship troubles, and sexually transmitted infections and pregnancy. So rape culture in the media, this is what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about how rape culture is portrayed through songs, advertisements, and movies. So 2 examples of advertisements here. On the left, the woman is basically naked with 5 men pulling on her, seemingly violent, but it is described as a game. And on the right, the relish ad, the 2 women are being, I guess, arrested, but as you can see, they're being manhandled by these cops. The woman on the left, it seems her hair is being pulled, while the woman on the right, the cop has his hand under her skirt. So rape culture in songs: Robin Thicke's Blurred Lines, one of the most notorious songs that push the rape culture. He says, "I know you want it, I know you want it, but you're a good girl. The way you grab me must want to get nasty." Pressuring this woman, saying, "I know you want it." The way she grabs him, she must want to have sex. And the blurred lines insinuating that there is some substance use going on, whether she knows it or not, she may be under the influence. Really showing this sexual coercion happening here, pushing this rape culture, and millions are singing along to it, not blinking an eye. Rick Ross says, "Put Molly all in her champagne, she ain't even know it. I took her home and I enjoyed that. She ain't even know it." Again, we're seeing roofing, a woman being taken advantage of because she's under the influence. In this case, he's roofing her, taking her home, and having sex with her without her knowledge or consent. And again, millions and millions listening to these lyrics, singing to them, and not taking it seriously at all. Tyler, the Creator, says, "And you call this rape, but I think that rape's fun." Pretty self-explanatory here. You call it rape, but I just think it's a good time. Completely normalizing sexual assault and sexual violence, even glamorizing it, as millions and millions are singing these lyrics. Again, not doing anything about it. And lastly, a very, very famous song, Baby It's Cold Outside. Say, what's in this drink, she says, but the answer is no, you're very pushy. And the man says, but it's cold outside. I like to think of it as opportunistic. The woman being pressured to stay after saying no, saying you're pushy, possibly being roofied. She doesn't know what's in her drink. And this just sexual pressure coming from him. And again, we sing this every Christmas, you know? So these are real examples of how rape culture is shown in the media, in songs, and we don't think anything of it. So rape culture in ads, we see these everywhere, especially in high fashion ads. For example, Dolce & Gabbana right here, we're seeing this woman being pinned down. There are 3 men onlooking this happening. However, she is in full hair and makeup. She's showing off the shoes, the clothes. It's very glamorous. However, it's clear that he is dominating her. It's portraying sexual violence, but it's supposed to be seen as high fashion and fashionable, really showing us how sexual violence can look glamorous, but it is all the same. Bloomingdale's ad says, spike your best friend's eggnog when they're not looking. As you can see in his eyes, he looks maybe like he's plotting something, and the woman looking away, smiling, not knowing what's about to happen next. I'm not 100% sure what this is advertising. However, again, pushing that message of, you know, roofie that girl's drink, take advantage of her. It's no big deal. And we're seeing this constantly over and over. Calvin Klein jeans, very similar to the Dolce & Gabbana ad. The woman is being pinned down. She's in a very submissive position. One man is on top of her while the other is pulling her hair. She seems to be in a situation of sexual violence, yet this is supposed to be a glamour shot, a high fashion shot. It's supposed to be modeling jeans, but we are only seeing sexual violence being modeled. And lastly, 2 different types of alcohol. The one on the left showing this man in a kind of power stance. He's above her. Her head and shoulders are between his knees. His hand is on her throat, pretty much showing the sexual violence. He's pouring the drink down her throat. And on the right, Belvedere vodka. Unlike some people, Belvedere always goes down smoothly, insinuating that the woman in the picture does not. So the man with 2 arms around her and the terrified look on her face has to force her to. All of these advertisements are showing just how sexual violence is so normalized and so glamorized, and how we often don't even think about it when we see it. So rape culture in movies. We're going to start with 16 Candles. I know it's a classic. I know everyone knows this movie. Everyone continues to watch this movie. However, the scene where Jake hands off his drunk girlfriend to a younger boy, Ted, telling him to have fun with her, which leads to Ted raping Caroline. She is passed off as just an object, just thrown to this other boy. She's taken advantage of while she's under the influence. And yet this scene really isn't talked about too much. No one really bats an eye when we see this happening. Again, normalizing this sexual violence, sexual assault happening with under the influence women. Grease, in the song Summer Nights, did she put up a fight, asks one of Danny's friends, referring to when him and Sandy were together. Really pushing this notion of, oh, was she good and gave into it? Or, you know, did you have to kind of force her? Did she fight it until she gave in? Normalizing this sexual violence, this rape culture once again. In Game of Thrones, anyone who has seen this show knows that sexual violence is a huge part of it. I can't give you one example without giving you 100, but anyone who has watched it knows that sexual violence and sexual assault is completely normalized and glamorized in this show. So all of these examples are showing us just how normalized rape culture is in our society. So it is important to talk about what to do if you or someone you know has been a victim of sexual assault. So first, get to a safe place and call 911 or call the police to report the assault. Tell someone you trust or call a crisis hotline. Consider going to the hospital and getting the proper medical attention. This can include a rape kit, STD prevention, or pregnancy prevention. Consider your legal options, which can be filing a report or pressing charges, or choosing not to. Find resources such as therapists, hotlines, or legal help, and know that this is not your fault and there are resources available to you. Rape Counselors of East Alabama provides resources to friends, family, and individuals who have been afflicted by sexual assault. Resources include a 24-hour hotline, medical and legal advocacy, counseling referrals, and education. In conclusion, rape culture is a huge ongoing problem, and we need awareness and consequences in order to create change. Thank you so much for watching, and please visit Rape Counselors of East Alabama for more information.